Hey everyone, and welcome back to English Podcast 2.0. It's great to have you with us today. Learning a new language can be so exciting, but let's be real, speaking it out loud, that can be a whole different ballgame. It can be kind of scary.
It really can. So many people, they feel nervous or embarrassed, they worry about making mistakes or sounding silly, and it holds them back. You're definitely not alone if you feel that way.
Yeah, it's like your brain knows the words, but when it's time to actually say them, everything just freezes up.
Yeah.
So today in this deep dive, we are going to explore why that fear exists. And even more importantly, we are going to give you some actual strategies you can use to overcome your fear and build your confidence.
Yeah, that fear is a really common experience for English language learners.
Mm.
And one of the biggest reasons it pops up is this idea that we have to be perfect right from the start.
Oh yeah, it's like we forget how we learned our first language. We were all babies once, babbling away, making tons of mistakes. No one expected us to be perfect then.
Exactly, and no one judged us for it. Mistakes are a natural part of learning. But somewhere along the way, we get this idea that mistakes are bad and we should avoid them at all costs.
Which is kind of ironic because mistakes are how we learn. I've seen that firsthand.
Hmm.
I know people who can read complex English books and understand difficult articles, but they get really nervous when it's time to just have a simple conversation.
Yeah, and what's fascinating about that is it's almost like their brain knows the language, but they haven't given themselves permission to actually make mistakes and learn from them.
Yeah.
It really highlights how much fear can really affect our ability to progress.
So how do we shift that? How do we get past that fear and find the confidence to actually speak?
Well, one powerful technique is to start small and celebrate those wins. Ordering food in English, asking for directions, even just saying hello to a stranger, those are all victories worth celebrating. You are proving to yourself that you can do it.
I love that. Starting small and building up, it's all about building momentum, right?
Precisely. And it's a little bit like the fake it till you make it approach.
I've heard about that,
Mhm.
but how does that actually work for language learning?
Even if you don't feel confident yet, try acting as if you are. Stand tall, speak clearly, make eye contact, and smile. You might be surprised at how those small changes can help you feel more confident.
So it's about projecting confidence even if you don't feel it yet.
Exactly. And it can actually help you start feeling more confident over time. It's almost like you are training your brain to feel more comfortable speaking English.
Okay, I like that. But what about those negative thoughts that pop up? I'm not good at English.
That's where our mindset comes into play. If you're constantly telling yourself, I'm not good at English, you're going to start believing it.
So how do we shift that mindset?
It's about cultivating a growth mindset. Instead of focusing on your limitations, focus on your potential for growth. Remind yourself that you can improve with effort and practice. So instead of saying, I'm not good at English, try saying, I'm learning and getting better every day.
So it's all about reframing those negative thoughts into something more positive and encouraging.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that learning English is a journey, not a race.
I love that.
Hmm.
There is no finish line. It's all about continuous growth and improvement.
Right. And it's so crucial to avoid comparing yourself to others. Everyone learns at their own pace.
Okay, so we've talked about the fear of making mistakes, the importance of confidence and mindset. Now let's get into some practical exercises that people can use to practice speaking English.
There are so many great techniques you can try. A simple but really effective one is mirror speaking.
I've heard of that one. It's just like it sounds right. You talk to yourself in the mirror.
Yes, stand in front of a mirror and talk to yourself in English. You could describe your day, practice introducing yourself, or even have a conversation with your reflection. It might feel a little silly at first, but it is incredibly helpful.
Yeah, I can see how it could be helpful for practicing pronunciation, getting more comfortable hearing your own voice, and even working on your body language.
It really is a great way to practice in a safe and comfortable environment.
So what other exercises do you recommend?
Another really effective technique is called shadowing.
Okay, tell me more about shadowing. I'm intrigued.
Find a podcast, a movie, or a YouTube video with a native English speaker and try to repeat what they are saying, mimicking their pronunciation and rhythm.
So you're basically like a shadow following along with their voice.
Exactly. And it's a great way to improve your pronunciation and get a feel for the natural flow of English speech. Plus, it can be fun. It's like karaoke for language learners.
I like that. So you are practicing your pronunciation and getting more comfortable with the sounds of English.
Yes. And you're also getting exposed to different accents and speaking styles.
Okay, I'm sold. Mirror speaking and shadowing. What else?
Another excellent exercise is to record yourself speaking English. Choose a topic that interests you and talk about it for a few minutes. Then listen back to the recording. You can hear how you sound and track your progress over time.
It's like having your own personal language coach in your pocket.
Exactly. It can feel a little awkward at first, but it's incredibly helpful.
What if you don't know what to talk about?
You could describe your favorite hobby, talk about a recent news story, or even just list some things you are grateful for.
I love all of these techniques. What stands out to you about these three specific exercises?
Well, what I find fascinating about them is that they are all things you can do on your own without needing a partner or a teacher. You have the power to practice and improve your English speaking skills anytime, anywhere.
That's so important for busy learners.
It is, and I think that's a perfect place to pause for now. We've covered so much already, and I want to give you all a chance to think about these ideas and techniques.
Great idea. We'll be back soon to continue our deep dive into the world of confident English speaking.
Welcome back to our deep dive into conquering the fear of speaking English. We were just talking about some great exercises you can try on your own to improve your confidence and fluency.
Yeah, those exercises are really helpful. It's interesting to think about how much our mindset can affect our language learning journey. I'm curious, what about the role of culture? How do different cultural norms and expectations play into this fear of speaking English?
That's a great question. Cultural differences definitely play a role. Some cultures might be more comfortable with making mistakes and speaking up, even if they're not perfectly fluent.
That makes sense. I can see how in some cultures there might be a stronger emphasis on accuracy and formality, which could make learners more hesitant to speak unless they feel totally prepared.
Yeah, that's a really important point. It's important to be aware of those cultural nuances and to respect different communication styles. But it's also important to remember that those cultural norms don't have to define your language learning journey.
So it's about finding that balance between honoring your cultural background and pushing yourself to step outside of your comfort zone.
Exactly. And you know what can really help with that? Having a supportive learning environment. Whether it's a classroom setting, a language exchange partner, or an online community, finding people who encourage you and celebrate your progress can be incredibly motivating.
It's like having a cheerleading squad for your English-speaking journey.
Yes, having a safe and supportive space to practice and make mistakes without feeling judged is so valuable, and it can really help to connect with other learners who are going through the same journey as you. You can share tips and encourage each other.
I love that sense of community. It's like you're all in this together. Sometimes we forget that even native English speakers make mistakes all the time.
That's so true. No one is perfect. Language is constantly evolving.
That's a great reminder. I think sometimes learners put so much pressure on themselves to sound exactly like a native speaker, but really the goal is to communicate clearly and confidently.
I couldn't agree more. And you know what? Focusing on communication, on connecting with other people can actually take some of that pressure off. It allows you to actually enjoy the learning process more.
Okay, speaking of enjoying the process, let's talk about resources. There are so many amazing tools and platforms out there to help people learn and practice English.
There are so many great resources available, everything from language learning apps and websites to podcasts and online communities, and many of them are totally free.
It's really incredible how accessible language learning has become. Are there any specific resources that you are particularly fond of?
Oh, it's hard to choose. But I really love podcasts for improving listening comprehension and getting exposed to different accents. And there are so many podcasts designed specifically for English language learners.
Yes, podcasts are such a game changer. You can listen to them anytime, anywhere, on your commute, at the gym, or while you're doing chores around the house. It's like you're learning without even realizing it.
Another resource I find incredibly valuable is online language exchange platforms. These platforms connect you with native English speakers who want to learn your native language, so you can help each other.
Like a win-win situation.
Yeah,
You both get to practice and improve your language skills.
exactly. And you might even make some new friends from different parts of the world.
That's so cool. You mentioned the importance of having a supportive community earlier, and I think that's such a key piece of the puzzle. Having people in your life who encourage you, who celebrate your successes, and who offer support when you're feeling discouraged can make a huge difference.
You are so right. Surrounding yourself with positive and supportive people can really help you stay motivated and keep moving forward on your language learning journey.
And remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
That's a great way to put it. There will be ups and downs along the way, but the key is to be patient with yourself, to stay motivated, to keep practicing, and to never give up on your goals.
It's funny. We've talked about so many different strategies, but it seems like a lot of them come back to this idea of confidence.
Confidence really is key. And even if you don't feel confident right away, you can start acting as if you are. Remember what we talked about earlier: stand tall, speak clearly, smile, and make eye contact.
Fake it till you make it, right?
Exactly. It might feel a little strange at first, but those small actions can have a huge impact on your confidence levels.
This conversation has been so helpful. It's amazing how all these elements, our mindset, our confidence levels, the techniques we use, the resources we have access to, and the people we surround ourselves with all work together to shape our language learning journey.
It really is a beautiful tapestry of interconnected elements. And I think that's one of the things that makes language learning so fascinating and so rewarding.
I love that. It's not just about memorizing vocabulary words and grammar rules. It's about personal growth, cultural exploration, and connecting with other people.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to remember that every step you take, every word you speak, is a victory worth celebrating.
What a beautiful message. Now, before we wrap up, I have one final question for you. What's the most important piece of advice you would give to someone who's really struggling with this fear of speaking English?
That's a great question. I think the most important thing is to be kind to yourself. Learning a new language is a challenging process. Don't beat yourself up over mistakes. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small it might seem. And remember, you are not alone. There are millions of people around the world learning English, and there are so many resources and support systems available to help you succeed.
I love that. It's all about self-compassion, resilience, and remembering that you're part of a global community of learners.
Exactly. And never underestimate the power of believing in yourself. You can do this.
Welcome back to our deep dive into conquering the fear of speaking English. We've been having such a great conversation about all the different ways you can build your confidence and improve your fluency.
It's been fascinating. We've talked about everything from mindset to practical techniques, from embracing mistakes to the importance of finding a supportive community.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think is so powerful is this idea that you don't have to wait until you feel perfectly confident to start speaking English. You can actually start building your confidence through action.
Yes. And that's what we talked about earlier with the fake it till you make it approach. Remember, even if you don't feel confident yet, you can start acting as if you are. Stand tall, make eye contact, smile, and speak clearly. You might be surprised at how those small changes can have a big impact on how you feel.
Yeah, it's like you're sending signals to your brain saying, "Hey, we've got this."
Exactly. And the more you practice speaking English, the more comfortable and confident you'll become. It's all about building those neural pathways and strengthening your fluency muscles.
I love that analogy. It's like working out at the gym.
Mm.
The more you train, the stronger you get.
Exactly. And just like with physical exercise, consistency is key. The more regularly you practice speaking English, the more progress you'll make. Even just a few minutes each day can make a big difference over time.
And that's where those solo exercises we talked about earlier can be so helpful. The mirror speaking, the shadowing, the recording yourself.
Those are great tools for building fluency and confidence, and the beauty of them is that you can do them anytime, anywhere without needing a partner or a teacher.
Exactly. You're in control of your own learning journey.
You are, and remember, every step you take, every word you speak is a victory worth celebrating.
And remember, you don't have to be perfect. In fact, embracing those imperfections can actually help you connect with others on a deeper level.
That's such an important point. It's about letting go of that need to be perfect and allowing yourself to be authentic, to be real, to show up as your true self.
So beautifully said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this incredible deep dive.
It's been an absolute joy exploring these important topics with you.
And to our amazing listeners, thank you for joining us on this adventure. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and are feeling inspired to continue your English-speaking journey with confidence, joy, and a whole lot of self-compassion.
Remember, the world needs your voice. Don't be afraid to share it.
And we'll be here cheering you on every step of the way. Until next time, keep practicing, keep believing, and keep shining.